Alright, in this video, I want to make a second attempt here because the other videos seem to be messing up where I can't upload it to YouTube. So I gotta redo this, and this video is about my best attempt to answer a question I got in the comment section. Somebody stumbled across my channel, said they liked the run and shoot, and they asked how would I deal with a double A gap, cover 0, whether it's off coverage or press coverage. So that's what I would like to do in this video. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to start off at picking a play where I don't realize what they're doing on defense yet. So I'm going to do my rip 60Z slide, and then we will come over to here, the double mug in the mid blitz 0. This is the play he's talking about. And generally what you're going to see here is people will take the guy on the running back and they'll come over here. And now we're going to go off coverage. Start off. I can still run this against off coverage, but when I see this alignment, I want to run. Now, with the user coming down, he kind of helps out in the run, but I'm still going to test him because when they line up everybody on the line like this, it's basically like a head on a head, and you can run the ball very well. Not so much when you use a pulling guard in this situation, or somebody that's pulling. You can at times, but not all the time. And I'm going to show you that. Like if I did a trap right here, which I'll do real quick, and I didn't set my audibles, so sorry about that. Gotta go do that. I don't know why I gotta set my audibles. It's like not staying. But we're gonna use the trap. We're gonna use a read option. Then we'll use the quick base. And then we're gonna go 590 Texas here. Alright, so let's go back to rip 60Z slide. Back to the mid blitz. Alright. I'm going to also move because that user will not be playing, so we're going to let the computer use that character so he doesn't just stand there. So when I see this, I can still run this play, this right here, because I got 6 people blocking, there's 6 people coming in, but sometimes the user will run in. If the running back comes in the block, they'll come in, so it'll be a 7-man blitz. Sometimes they'll stay back in coverage. So like I said, I generally like to run when I see this, and I'll show you that in a second here. Let's go to a trap.
63.
This is not what I would generally do. I'm going to show you that a trap generally won't work against this. You see there's like nowhere. That's not the run I would go to. Let's bring that safety back down. Okay, so I see this. I want to be like, you know what? Read option works pretty well because the inside zone works very well against this kind of a front. You see you got hat on a hat, and the user might react a little bit better. But we also, let me go back to it. Let's go to read option.
63, bad.
This is not the best guy to do this with, but Campbell, if you motion over here, you notice that read option guy there, all of a sudden the read goes. You can turn this into a quarterback run, but don't expect Campbell to really block. Especially on this play, you can see he's doing a runoff where he's not going to block. He's just going to draw the attention down the field. So it doesn't always work out so well depending on who your receivers are. But you can see here, we can just turn it into a run. Didn't quite work. A lot of times, he will push him so that you can just turn it into a quarterback run, but that time it didn't work. But you can still, we can do the opposite. So let's do the read option. And we'll motion the other guy, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the inside zone. Because if they run with them, the man on man, you know they're doing that blitz. Pretty much 9 out of 10 times they're doing that blitz if you see that they go with the motion, right? But like I said, generally when I see this, I'm going to want to run the ball, right? But that doesn't mean you can't pass it. So that's what I'm gonna show you here. I can still run this play, especially when they're playing off like this. Like their guy didn't even follow him over, so that was a quick one. I think it would have switched. So we're not going to throw to him. We're just going to assume that when I run this, that dig stays on him. So let's not do that. Normally I wouldn't throw that against man coverage, but since nobody went with him, I was like, okay, I'll throw it to him. You can see we can still have some time here. Make a throw using this same play. But it's not my go-to when something like this is going on, right? And I'll show you against when they want to press. But what we're going to do is bring him here to anticipate the motion. And we'll bring him over here. So it's something like that, because Hooker will take on the running back. It should be more realistic in a game. And you can still get the ball off. But what I like to say is something I learned from watching people teach the 46 defense is they look for the fish. What that means is you see how they got a front like this where they're blitzing 6 people, right? So since I have 6 people blocking, it's going to be a one-on-one matchup pretty much, right? So they look for the fish on the defense. What that means is when they blitz like this, they see who loses the one-on-one matchup. They see their weak link, and that's who they call the fish. And that's who they'll attack with the blitzes, they'll attack with the stunts, they'll do all that, they'll put everything on that weak link. Because they're assuming there's at least one person on that line who just doesn't match up, right? And they'll be like, that's the fish. Well, in this same way, I'm going to look for the fish when it comes to their corners, right? So I'm going to go to 590 Texas, which is this play here. But what I'm going to do is put the running back on a block. Now, normally what I like to do is put Smith and Campbell, those 2 slot receivers. I like to custom stem them up 1, but since they're blitzing, I don't want to do that. And since they're off coverage, this would work a lot better. I can hit the drag, I could hit the corner, the post, or the little out from Smith. So I got 3 routes that work pretty well, that all get open pretty quick, especially against man coverage. But this is again where I look for the fish. Campbell, he's not the greatest receiver, right? I'm going to say he's pretty well evenly matched up against who he's matched up on, right? So I'm not going to really... I'm just going to put the user on a defensive lineman here. That I wouldn't say is the fish, but who knows? It could be. We might have to run a few plays to find that out. But I know that Stingley is good. And I think he's better than Dotson. There's certain plays like right here on a drag, real quick, I'd probably be able to throw it to him, especially since he's playing off. But generally, I would think Stingley's going to win most of the time. So I wouldn't look at him as the fish. But on the other side, I have Brown on, Lassiter, their number 2 corner. I would think I would win most of the time against him. But here's I see where the fish is. And that's with Smith. Because Smith is lined up either on their nickel corner there or on their safety. Either one of them I don't think could match up with Smith. So without even running it, I'm thinking, based on the matchup here, Smith is my guy. On top of that, he has a really good man-beating route. So he's going to be my first look, especially when they're playing off like this. I should have enough time. Easy, right? Let's do this again with off coverage. We're going to block the running back. And I don't mind blocking the running back because I got 4 receivers. Another thing I like to do, like in franchise, is get a fullback or a really good pass blocking running back who's generally big. And I like those guys because I can keep them in and block. It's kind of like having another lineman. Sometimes I tried to find a little shorter tight end who's good at blocking, who maybe is good after the catch, so I can use him as a running back and use him as an extra lineman, but as in the backfield. That experiment hasn't really worked out, so I wouldn't recommend it. But definitely a fullback or a big running back who's good pass blocking, though that's worked out. But again, with off coverage, I can hit probably this drag, but it would have to be quick. I don't even know if that was Stingley. And let's do it again. I meant to actually audible.
Tiger Swamp, Tiger Swamp.
Let's block the running back. Campbell,
No touch.
if he gets inside, which he hasn't, but he still got open. I just didn't have time. But like I said, I didn't think he was the fish anyway.
Great, set.
Right? By the time he did get opened, it was too late. But let's do press. I'll show you the same play against press. All right, we got pressed up. I'll even bring their guys down. All right. So against press, it's actually quite similar with this play anyway. Brown is somebody I want to look at because if they're playing man blitz, and I didn't audible, so let me do that. Good thing I checked. On this row here, let's actually put him on a fade so he gets outside release. That's a good look here. Brown matched up. Like I said, I think he's going to win against whoever they put on him, as long as it's not Stingley. Stingley might be able to win some. I would say like 50-50 on that. But here, I think he's going to win 75+% of the time. So he's going to be a look. But the drag and everything else on this play right here alone should get open against this, right? And if we want, let's look at the pass blocking here. We can kind of half slide a little bit so that we kind of roll a little bit to that side. We don't need to do this. Probably not a good idea because I messed up the blocking and let that guy go free. So let's set that up again. Don't do what I... Shut up. I don't know if you can hear the controller doing all these calls. But, let's put the block in here. And before I do this, let's look at the replay. I can show you. I know I didn't have a lot of time here, but a back shoulder throw could have been good for that pass here. I didn't have enough time to hit Smith. Smith was definitely open. You could throw this with a good throw, not like completely open. Now the press, I don't even know. He got all jacked up. I don't know what happened to him. But that drag, generally, if you give it time, even against a good corner, you should get it. But let's look to Brown here. I should have high pointed it, but you see he was open. It's just a bad pass. Let's press again. Line it up how generally you're going to see it. Something like that. Let's block the running back. Smith should definitely get open. Got hit right when I was throwing. Stingley is, it looks like he's just, even on this, he is shutting down Dotson pretty well. Like, he is not able to get his drag going. Like, by the time there's even a chance that he's open, I'm getting hit. Like, let's see. Oh, he just beat the one-on-one matchup. All right, see, it looks like Dickerson's the fish. But that's another reason why I like to run the ball. Because when you run the ball, and they beat some of the blocks, you get your linemen some pass block resistance. As you can see, it doesn't look like I have any. None of them showing up. But that's going to help your pass blocking. When they get some resistance going, all right, now you can start to pass the ball more. You get a little bit resistance for that one-on-ones. And not only that, when you run the ball, you're getting their defense to end up use their pass rush moves. So if you run the ball a bunch, especially against something like this, a blitz, you're getting them to use their pass rush moves. You're getting your linemen resistance. So now when you pass, you have better blocking. That's another little tip for you if you didn't already do that yourself. But again, this is not the main play
Silver,
I
silver,
would
set.
use against this. I'm just showing you. Okay, I
King,
thought I
field king.
audible.
Field king.
How come I can't audible?
Now
590
let's get it.
Texas. It's not audible, and for some reason,
Hey, 73, 73.
there's some glitch. I'm just gonna have to run the play. It glitched out, but
No touch.
or it didn't glitch out. It just didn't show me the play art for some reason.
Great, 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 set.
But anyway, that's just what I would do if I came out and I didn't realize that's what they're doing, right? But if I realize that's what they're doing, well, then I can change some things up, right? If I want to stay in this formation that I really like, I can do a few different things. I wouldn't necessarily do that halfback mid-screen, but that's something you can do. They're coming all at you there. 90 replace Y stick. We'll show that. That one's really good. I'm going to show some passes since generally, like I said, just run the ball. But if they're still managing to stop the run, I'm going to show you some short passes because that's generally what you're going to want to do. You're not going to have a lot of time to let things develop. So let's go to replace Y stick. We'll run this.
No
Same
touch, set.
blitz. We'll stay with the off coverage for right now. And Smith and Brown are going to be the main reads here.
No
Smith
touch.
generally should just torch him. Nice quick pass. Against man, he's always going to do that out.
Great, great,
So
set.
you know what he's going to do,
No touch.
right? But you can also hit Brown. But you want to stay away from the user who's probably going to be right in that area. So I would recommend
No touch, set.
Smith. And apparently I got hit when I threw it.
No touch,
But
set.
that's something quick there. You can also hit Campbell. His pass real short. When they're playing off coverage anyway. Works pretty well. Right.
No touch.
I'm going to look for my best guy. But you see there's three options there. Dotson, I'm just looking at him more as a distraction.
No touch.
Right, he's just going to keep him way up there. I was just letting the play run out to show you. He just takes their
No
best
touch,
corner. That's one of the things I like to do when you have the run and shoot is try to get your worst receiver or at least your third string receiver matched up on their top corner. Right? So you can do your substitutions, what have you, so that their best corners matched up on your number 3 or number 4 receiver. So you can use your number 3 or 4 receiver to waste him. Right? So if you're playing in regs, Lassiter's just wasting his shutdown ability on a receiver that's not my main option. Not that I'm trying to diss Dotson there, but I got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith here. Matter of fact, I'd rather put Campbell over there, right? And that's probably what I would like to do. But again, if they're playing off like this, I got 3 people that can make some plays here on these short passes. Very easy, right? Against this man coverage.
Great, great, set.
Now, when they're pressing, it changes a little bit. We'll even press the safety. All right. So it's basically the same thing. It's just you got to make sure they don't win the press, and I don't think they're going to win press against a lot of my guys. Not against AJ anyway. We're just going to go down. Let's try it again. Show you the
Ready,
other routes.
set.
But that's another thing. A lot of times when you're playing, if you're playing against this formation, they don't have 4 corners. So one of your guys, like you can see with Campbell, I have to bring the safety down to press him if I want to press. So you can take advantage of that, which I'll show you in a moment.
No touch.
But even here, he can still get open like he did right there. But I'm taking that. I should have thrown it sooner, but I was looking at the other route.
Set.
So let's say it's like this. They press, and they don't adjust their other safety. Well, I know if they're
No
blitzing,
touch.
that's an easy. I got 10 yards there. I got a first down from that.
Set.
Right? So their blitz meant nothing. And if I broke that tackle, let's do it again here. Now, let's just say I end up throwing this, and I end up breaking that tackle, and the user comes in the blitz because they see my running back is blocking, so they come in too. That's a one-on-one. If they miss that tackle, you just got a touchdown, right? That's the thing with blitzing, is that you live and die by the blitz. But out of this formation, if I want to stay in this, which is one of my favorite formations in this, and what I would stay in a lot, that's one of the things I would do. I thought there was a couple others, like Y stick is something you can use. You still got that little button hook, but you also got that slant. But you got to go a little quicker because you're not using your running back in the block. Right? So let me just show that real quick.
No touch. Set.
You kind of, like if they're using the running back, right? So if they don't get over there, you got some yards you can get. Of course, the computer, they're going to go straight there. But the user's not always going to do that,
Set.
right? You can even do this. Let's do a block and release. So when the user's on the running back, right, like this is a good, nice little trick. He can still end up going out. He's blocking, so he's probably not going to go out. But
No touch.
he can distract the actual user. I don't know if that was in, but it was close.
No touch. Set.
So that's something you can do. Not always going to work because he will actually stay in and have to pick somebody up. But you can always do a block and release in the sense that, what if they're not really blitzing? What if they're just trying to make it look like it? Well, then he'll go out for a pass, right? And if not, well, then he's blocking. But I wouldn't want him. That's what I would rather do. I don't know why it has my right tackle blocking no one. I just want to run this play to see what's going to happen here. What is Lane Johnson really going to do? He literally doesn't block anybody, and then eventually double teams.
No touch. Set.
That was weird. But anyway, that's another little tip for you: the block and release. But like I said, another thing is like running, because let's do like the read option real quick. So let's say they run this play a lot, but then sometimes they'll come out and they'll do like the cover 3 here, and they try to make it look the same, so you can't tell, is this man or zone, right? But I'm like, you know what, I'm going to run the ball because I like to run against this front, and if they do a zone, check it out. Their linebackers already started going backwards. So it actually gave me some yards for nothing because they back up and then my linemen go right after them. So you win-win if you run the ball because the formation is good to run the ball against. And that's why I might not stay in this formation. Like if they're in that formation a lot, well then I'm probably going to go to single back trips open or spread. Here I recommend going to strong slots so that you have all 4 of your receivers in. I would use pistol spread and pistol trips open because you got a little bit of a better run game in these 4 formations, and that would help counter. But you also got some really nice short passes, and I'll show you 2 short passes you can use very well against this formation, and that's mixing in levels here and stick, and I'll show you here why. Here's more with levels, you're attacking the user so much because you're
Ready, ready,
going
set.
after the middle of the field. Let me flip this. Let me set this up the way it would generally look like. Let's say he doesn't bother bringing that safety down the press. Well, here, I'm looking at Smith. He's going to be the guy, but I'm also thinking I'm not going to have a lot of time. But I don't have my audibles, so all I have is the inside zone. Usually I have an outside zone here. I have a trap. I wouldn't run a trap here, but inside zone can work very well against this because you have like basically a hat on the hat, and you basically just got to watch out for the user. Right, so it's you versus their user. But we're going to focus on the pass to show you some passes just in case you're just not good at running or they're really good at stuffing it, like the user just fills all the gaps and you're having trouble running it, so now you have to pass. Well, here you go. You can mix these 2 plays together because this one has all the people coming inside at the user, right?
No touch.
And you just find the open guy. And you try to do it quick because you know it's a blitz.
Ready, 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 set.
You can even run it to this side if you so choose. Right? Because then you have Smith come across the middle a little bit faster. He gets past the user, beats his coverage. You could do something like that. But you can see when you have all these people coming to the middle, and you have Dotson doing his little out, if they're off coverage, you can hit that, throw it low and inside. I threw it a little soon, but I kind of, for some reason, I'm sorry. I thought I was playing the Texans. I was wondering why some of these names were different, and I kept calling him Stingley. I thought I picked the Texans, but I picked the Titans. I'm sorry about that. But they do have a good corner out there. Sneed, I think his name is. I was wondering why there's Diggs. I was like, what roster am I using here? So forgive me for that. I'm playing the Titans. But anyway, you could still hit this off coverage, even against a good corner. But against press, I wouldn't recommend it. And if they're not pressing, it just makes it where these quick routes get open sooner. Right, I can hit. Right, it's just you get your 5 yards every time, or if you're able to hit Dotson's route going out, or even you can leave it like this and be like, oh, I'm definitely going Brown. He almost cut that and then he dropped it.
Ready, set. No touch.
I wanted to throw it away from the corner, but what you can do is you can high point it.
No touch.
Try to make a catch there. I'm going to try to do it a couple times just to show you to keep it away from the corner. I mean, you just got to practice it. But when you throw it high, it makes it where they can't really animate when they're trying to. And he dropped it again, but right there was perfect.
Ready, set. No touch.
There we go. When you high point it, for some reason, like at least with the users, they can't animate to try to pick it. But if you mix this play with the stick, let's flip it this time. You can see how it's a nice little combo here. What I would like to do is actually put Smith on a flat here, because especially in man coverage, he's going to come down, and that leaves a lot of open room for Campbell, who I know is going to do an out against man coverage. So if they're playing off like this, and I have 6 people blocking, should give me enough time to, boom, right? Off coverage, easy. But hopefully when you keep doing those other routes where they're coming in and you're throwing the short little thing over there, what you end up doing is you get the user to actually go over in that direction. Right? He might start biting over there, getting ready for something like that, which
No
means
touch.
you can quickly hit a slant. Right? But you got to do it quick when they're off
No
coverage because
touch.
they'll close fast. But when they're pressing, you can go, hey, maybe I want to look at the guy not pressed, but we'll press him just to say that they do it. Well, against this,
73.
if I
73.
want, is he actually? Now I can't hot route for some reason, or maybe it's just not showing up again. There we go. I had to go through the cycle here, but I put him on a flat there. Brown is definitely where I'm looking. His matchup, I'm looking for that all day. Right? They're pressing and man blitz, no safety over the top. Looking for Brown, but I can still throw a quick pass to Campbell. Dotson, since it's press, I would probably put him on a drag. Not that he's going to win that, but I'll just show you on a slant, especially since he gets inside leverage. I don't know how well that's going to work. We'll look at the replay, but I'm going to focus on Brown and then Campbell, and then come over late to Dotson.
No touch.
And boom, we have Brown all day. And I high pointed it, didn't need to. If I didn't high point it, he wouldn't have to have jumped, and that was easy, right? So let's pretend that Brown is locked up by Sneed. Not
Hey,
Stingley, Sneed.
73. 73.
At least I think that's who that's supposed to be over there. Didn't he recently sign with them? Well, anyway, I want to look for Campbell, even though it's press here. Let's get the user off of there, just in case that messes that up.
No touch.
I'm still looking for that. Because I know even when you bring the safety down,
Great, great,
he
set.
doesn't quite press, because he's not on the line. Only Brown and Dotson are on the line. Let's look at the relay play real quick. He actually, you could throw that if you back shouldered it, but it's a risk. We'll do it just to show you that it can be done. So again, I
Hey.
put Smith on a flat.
No touch.
Oh, this time he really messed up, and I got hit before I did it. He wanted to go outside, then he went inside. He got all jacked up. That's why I was saying you look for the fish, because Dotson couldn't get open against him on that one. You're not going to get anything consistent, except when it's off coverage like this. Then
No
you
touch.
can get a couple yards. Probably going to get hit like that. You just try to
Great, great,
possession,
great, set.
do a possession catch on it. But again,
Alpha, alpha, alpha.
run the ball,
No touch.
because you're going to get a hat on a hat, and generally you can get some good plays. Just do not do
Great,
what I
great,
just
great,
did
set.
there. I hit the speed burst
63, 63.
way too
60.
soon.
No touch.
Wait, dang, he's still. I don't know why Dickerson's getting beat so bad.
Crowd love Yeti.
But when you hit the speed burst, they seem to break off
No
blocks
touch.
easier. So if you try to wait and then hit it right when you get to the hole, it works out a lot better. Whoever that
Great,
is
great, great, set. Hey, easy. 63,
doing very
63.
well.
Bad. No touch.
Trying to stay away from Justin Simmons.
Great, 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 set.
But I don't have my other audibles in here. I would have like an outside zone,
Hey.
and I can't turn this play into it.
No touch.
So we're kind of just stuck with that. But I would have like an outside zone. I'll show you
No touch.
something else that would work well against this when it comes to running the ball. And I think it's in pistol, trips open. We can do one of the wide zones, wide zone weak. Let's put that in the audibles. Let's keep the slam. Let's take the go out. Let's do one of the wide zones. Let's just do wide zone. And what we're going to come out in is actually a run play. I think I skipped. There we go, speed option. And now let's do the same play. Let's do the wide zone.
Miami.
Let's do their normal setup here that you'd probably see. Start off with press. And you can choose either side here, right?
No
And
touch.
they can, wow, they got off the blocks pretty well.
Great, set. Man.
Let's try it one more time.
No touch.
All right, this one's not seeming to be working too well. Maybe don't do it. Maybe the other one, the other zone play, which kind of goes off tackle. It's not so wide. Or maybe I just need to cut it up. Let's run it one more time.
Tiger swamp. No touch.
Yeah, I just needed to cut it up. You just watch where you're... I'll show you something
No.
that I saw that kept happening the first time that I ran it, but I didn't react to it. Is watch when the linemen engage. Look where their helmets are. And you can see here, let me zoom in. You see how Malata's helmet, when you're looking at him, is on the right, and the Titan's helmet is on the left. That means you got inside leverage. And Dickerson, it's the same thing. His helmet is on the right, and the Titan's helmet's on the left. So that means I need to cut it in, especially when you look at Jurgens. What did he do? His helmet is on the left, and the Titan's helmet's on the right. I got inside leverage here, so that's where my hole is. And that's what happened on the first two times I ran it. I just didn't react to it. And then boom, I got 5 yards. Right? So another thing helping you in the run game there, paying attention to that little thing there. But let's do this play here. This one should work well. We'll do press again. You know, if they're playing off coverage, if they play off coverage, it might work better. But we'll go against press. This, you see how the quarterback runs straight parallel with the 25-yard line? You need to follow that. If you try to cut up, kind of like you're doing a read option, you're probably going to get hit. And you're not going to be able to pitch the ball. You're going to get a lot of fumbles or the pitch picked off. You need to run straight that way. And then decide if you're going to cut up or pitch. All right? Just a little tip, just in case. You can see here we can go. He comes after me. My receiver didn't block all too well.
No touch.
But we'll do it again.
No touch.
There we go. And that's a touchdown. Oh, almost. Spoke too soon. But you see, this one can work. Make them punish. I mean, punish them for blitzing. Right? I'm just going to run it without changing anything. That safety actually comes over and helps. So it would be better if that safety is usered, which is usually what happens. Whoever you're playing users that, and they come over to that. But you can also do this and flip it. Right?
No touch.
And it may even work better. But we'll do it press to see.
No touch.
So we'll press. Something like that. And you can see how I'm getting some blocking resistance there. You can see. Everybody gets a little bit. Right? So that helps out. We'll flip this.
No touch.
And that might actually be better. Wide side of the field, where all the receivers are.
Great,
So
set.
this is another play that that I use to run, and I get some big yards when they want to blitz. You just something I recommend practicing, because you got to run parallel with that line. If you try to, I'll show you. I'll intentionally mess up.
Great, set.
I'm going to run kind of off tackle,
No touch.
and then if I want to see how when I tried to pitch it, it worked out, but don't expect it to work out like that all the time. So you don't do like a read option where
Set.
you get ready to with your quarterback to go off tackle.
No
No,
touch.
you need to start running this way. I thought I flipped it, that's why it messed up. You need to run parallel with that line, like it shows you,
No touch.
and get rid of it. And look at that blocking. Corner from the other side of the field had to jump in. But anyway, that is that.
Great, set.
I mean, I can quickly go over some other short plays you can do, but I mean, you might have your favorite formation. You can do the double outs, which is kind of like the stick from the single back version of this formation. Um, you can do the X-ray choice return. You're attacking the middle of the field, a high-low over the user. Play action maybe not be the best against a blitz. I mean, it can sometimes work well, but not always. You'll have to mess with that. Of course, like I showed you, the levels switch, and I think there might be regular levels in here. Houston can work. Middle slants. There is some I like to use, like I said, spread because of the run game. Speed out, definitely. HY option. That's a good one. I'll run this one because I like it's a triple option here.
Great, set.
And I'll show you something interesting here. When we do a press, let's say, oh, since they're pressing, I don't like the route going to Smith. I want to switch that up. Well, you just flip the play and no one really notices that you did. So now Campbell, who has the off coverage, he's the one who does the route. But I think against man, I'll show you if I can show you. You see how, I can switch to outside leverage. Okay, you see how I just switched their coverage to outside leverage? Now Smith, he's still going to do an out route, which is the sad thing. He doesn't base his route off the leverage. So you'd think, oh, outside leverage, I'm going to do an in route. No, against man, watch, he's still going to try for the out. Not that he can't get it, but it would have been a little cool thing, because even when that guy wins the outside leverage, he'll still try to force and go outside, which is unfortunate. But another thing you can do here, let's flip this. Am I hitting flip or reset? Yeah, I'm hitting flip, but for some reason, it's not flipping. It might be where it flipped, but it didn't tell me. Let's see. Campbell should do Smith's route and should be switched. But no, it didn't. This play can work, but let's see if I can flip it this time. There we go. What I like to do is I like to take this option route and put it underneath Smith's route. So it's like a high-low. And you know how he always does an out when you put him on the outside? He'll always do an in on man coverage. So the same thing here. If I bring him over here, well, I know he's always gonna go that way. Kind of unfortunate, but at least it's consistent. You know what he's gonna do. I'm not gonna show you more plays, as in bring him out, but I'll go over some short things like in shotgun. You could do the same thing with Hook right there. You see how the red route has an option? You can take him and motion him to the other side of the field, and then you got your little quick thing. So if it's actually a very good play because you're used to them doing that blitz, right? But now and then they'll mix in something like a zone. And if they do a zone, he'll just do the little hook. Right? So even when they trick you, you're still right. Right? Following me with me on that one? Um, RPO peak slant can work depending on... I'll just show it here. I guess I will show some plays.
No touch it.
Like this with Brown.
No
I know
touch.
it's man coverage. I can throw it quick. But when it's pressed, maybe a little bit different.
Great, great, set.
But that's just the thing. You can just run it. Let
No
it
touch.
run. But even against press, I still think you
Great,
can
great,
throw it.
great, set. No touch.
Especially to Brown. Something quick. It's kind of like a play action. Right?
Great, 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 set.
And, oh, this formation has a lot of nice short passes here. Like play action, this drag one is really good actually against this. I'll show it because it's pretty much the only play action
Great, great,
I
great,
really
set.
use. Let's press. Let's bring this guy in. All right, so basically every route. Every route.
No touch.
Definitely that one. Big play.
Great, great,
Let's
great,
let's keep
set.
pressing. Yeah.
No touch.
We can even hit the drag here. Wow, they actually got in really fast that time. I should have thrown it to someone else.
No touch it.
Let's
No touch.
like any one of these routes. You just pick,
No touch.
right? I see every one. At least against the press, you can see that, right?
Great, 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 set.
And even if, especially if they don't press. But I'm gonna press and try to show you the drag, even though he seems to be
No touch.
messing him up pretty well. But even there, if you're able to hold on to it, that drag can win. I mean, each one of these routes is pretty good against
No touch it.
this man blitz here. But we're gonna go off coverage here, and it's still basically everything. All right, let's move this,
No touch.
especially this button hook. Since he's off, that's definitely an option. You just time it, anticipate when he's gonna go. You kind of look at the corner too. That corner starts to turn upfield, and then boom, he turned upfield. You got it, and then he missed the tackle.
No touch it.
And then like everything else, they want to play off. You can still. I should have thrown that one sooner, but I could have hit
No touch it.
Smitty
No touch.
when he was coming across. Like this play is very good against this formation. Not only that, you could still run it. I don't think there's a lot of good runs necessarily in this formation. I think there might even be one or two runs. Like there's an inside zone and a draw. I don't know. We got a sweep and a counter. We actually got some good runs. Sweep, counter, and what was the other one? That was it. Sweep can actually work well, so you can mix this in with your play action here.
Great, great, set.
Bring this guy over here like the user would tend to do.
No touch.
You got the outside leverage. You see that? So you can mix things up here.
Great, 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 set.
another good formation to use against this kind of blitz here. Weak flood can work very well. The stick here can work well. Some of these quick developing plays. H replace very well because again, with those two option routes on the right that either do a button hook or they do an in, it kind of turns this into a potential levels play unless they do a zone. If they man up, you got a bunch of man beaters. Right? All these little ins are man beaters. Unless they got a good corner, right? Or they user it. But if they want a zone, you got zone beaters where they sit in the zone. And that H replace slot guys where they do a switch release, a lot of times that can mess up coverage too. So that's a very good play to use. And yeah. Of course, you can do level switch and levels. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, you can do an RPO. Probably not the best because when you do a bubble screen man coverage usually covers that very well, but you can still use it to run and give them the potential of pass to just get them to respect it a little bit if they ever do a zone. Because I'll show you anyway. Let's do this against this blitz.
Great, set.
We'll even bring this guy down. All right. So if they ever switch to a zone or the guy on Campbell, if he bites in, you just throw it.
No touch.
Like he doesn't bite in, all right, we'll run. But if he's ever in a position, like let's say, like they go to the cover 3,
Crowd left the enemy.
and they want to come down. They want to bring the safeties down. Let's say he's using this one. Let's bring him back over here because they're trying to make it base set up. All right, I'm just going to have to keep the user on him because he keeps going over there. Trying to make it look like the same thing, but it's not. You can run this. You run this even though they're trying to make it look like the same thing.
No touch.
See that safety drop back, and there you go. Right? I mean, you can use it because it's a run, and then if they ever want to come out of that blitz and they do a zone, you can throw the quick pass. But there are some other good runs like the sweep, zone, counter. I wouldn't recommend, but the speed option definitely. Base. Base is actually can work well. It's a pulling. I'm going to show it. It's a pulling guard, but it actually can work decent against this blitz. Normally I wouldn't have a puller, but since let's say the user is an issue, this play can actually work. Didn't work too well that time, but we'll run it a couple times. But you could see there why I don't usually like to have a pull, because this guy, he's going to come free generally, but didn't mean to do that. But that's not always the case, right? If he can get picked up like he was right, somebody else got free. All right, so that's why I usually don't pull, but the base play,
Great, set.
it can actually work. I've got a pancake. You just got to be a little bit patient. It's not working so well. Maybe it's out of this formation, it doesn't work as well. But again, generally, when they have everybody up on the line, you don't want to use a pull run play. But some of the times, the base one can work because what ends up happening, if we look at the replay, what you want to happen is since he's pulling, you want Johnson to hit the guy that's going to come free so that the guy on the end, he comes free. So since he's blocked, then he blocks him. He should block him. And Dickerson 69 there. I can't go to him for some reason. Why does it do that? He blocks that middle linebacker there. So when he pulls, but instead he basically pulls just to block the same guy, right? There's not a real, they don't work well all the time. But anyway, this video is longer than the first one I did. I think I might have showed a little bit more. But that's that for how to go against this. You can even go 5 wide because you know it's man on man, and you can have some streaks or some short routes here like levels, and you have that deep route as well. You can do that and really mess them up. If I had more time, I would show you that you could take the 5 wide, like especially with pivot Z in. You got these zig routes that destroy man coverage, and you got some deep routes. It's awesome, right? You can even mix the touch pass in there because if it's man coverage, sometimes that guy who's manned up on him is a little slow to follow along. So if they keep running that blitz, you could potentially do that. Wouldn't recommend it because you got 6 guys and you have 5 guys blocking when you do 5 wide. But you can show them that you're not scared. You can throw some quick passes here because if you have 5 receivers, there's bound to be somebody on the other side that isn't good at coverage. And you find the fish. Like I was saying, find the fish. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. And I wouldn't feel right if I didn't say that, hey, you got to pay attention to what's going on in the world. Right? There's volcanoes starting to go off and like off the coast of California, in Alaska and other places. These earthquakes going on. They say like 10,000 earthquakes would go off if the volcano goes off the coast of California. There's a bunch of tornadoes that were going off in China. All right, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Not to mention the wars and rumors of wars going on. Escalation to looks like nuclear weapons could be used between Russia and Ukraine. What's going on between them seems to be getting worse. And then peace deals falling apart with Israel and the nations around them and Iran and what have you. And not only that, the economy, they're slowly messing it up and devaluing the dollar and doing all this stuff with the tariffs. The world's changing. They want to push for a digital currency where basically everybody's going to be enslaved. They can keep track of everything you're doing with your money and tell you what to spend it on. Prophecies are being fulfilled, so you need to get right with God while you can, right? And I know you want to play football and just focus on football, but it would be wrong of me to distract you with all this stuff and not warn you that your time could be up today for all we know. Today could be the day where you meet your maker. And are you prepared to actually stand before him and answer for your life? And I would imagine your answer is no, unless you've already met him at the cross. Because right there at the cross at Calvary, that's where you've been judged. God already looked at your life, even your future, and he's like, you know what? You don't deserve heaven. You deserve death and hell. But God loves you, and he's for you. He's not against you. And he sent his son, came into this world, into the flesh to live the perfect life you couldn't live, to give it to you at that cross, if you are willing to give up your life for him. As in, you admit that you deserve the judgment he's given. That Jesus went through what you deserve. He didn't deserve that. You did. If you can accept that judgment and give up your righteousness, your life, your past, present, and future, 100% to God, he gives you 100% of him. His past, present, and future, his life, and covers you with his righteousness. And I hope you would accept that today so that you can enjoy something like this for a little bit. Because what really matters is your soul and where you're going to be when all this is done. Because all this ain't going to matter if you end up today, right? And if the economy falls apart tomorrow, right? None of this matters. So thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.